Tonight on the South Today, the youngest ever mayor in New Zealand is celebrating his win, promising his age isn't an issue. The man behind many of Oamaru's metal steampunk creations is creating quite a stir in his new hometown of Christchurch. And taking down lecture notes is paying off for one writer after her show debuts in Dunedin. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. New Zealand's youngest mayor, Ben Bell, has been elected in Gore by the slimmest of margins. The 23-year-old mayor-elect promises his age won't be an issue, but admits uniting the divided electorate will be a challenge.
Gore Mayor-elect Ben Bell celebrating a sweet taste of victory yesterday at home with family. The final result delivering the 23-year-old a win against outgoing Mayor Tracy Hicks by only 8 votes after all special votes had been tallied. Bell says he's up to the task and sceptics shouldn't worry about his age.
But I've got a decent amount of experience. I've worked for councils, so I understand standing orders and I understand how a council operates. And I've been punching above my weight for a long time in terms of age.
He says the final result shows a clear split in the electorate, attributing his win to a willingness to listen.
Have come out and talked to me and engaged with me enough to give me their vote, and I hope I'm making those people proud.
Hicks says he has not ruled out requesting a recount of the votes. It was a close race in Southland as well, the district welcoming its new mayor-elect Rob Scott, who won by just 39 votes. Scott says he looks forward to working alongside Bell in the future. In Gore, the South Today.
And meanwhile, in Dunedin, re-elected councillor Sophie Barker has been named as the city's new deputy mayor and will stand alongside mayor-elect Jules Raddick. Otago University students have expressed anger and frustration at the Labour government for failing to deliver on a key election promise. The Otago University Student Association say student allowance eligibility for postgrad students was promised 5 years ago, but has yet to pass into policy. OUSA may proceed with a plan to pass a symbolic no-confidence declaration aimed at Education Minister Chris Hipkins following a referendum held by the group. Meanwhile, more than 500 university staff attended a rally over stalled pay negotiations this week. Tertiary Education Union members have resumed bargaining negotiations. The union is asking for an 8% pay rise after rejecting a proposed 2% increase. It's the first time in 20 years staff have rallied for higher pay. The union members say they want to keep wages in line with inflation. The man behind many of Oamaru's metal steampunk creations is now calling Christchurch's New Brighton his home. The controversial artist is already creating a stir in his new hometown.
Drivers entering New Brighton's main street being greeted by a full-sized metal creature. However, some local residents have very mixed opinions about the controversial sculpture.
Controversy in art, I've always had it.
Patterson says the resonant metal sculpture is a bear who has lost everything on the falling stock market.
He's got no shoes on, he's lost his job, he's lost his wife, and he's lost all his money, and he doesn't have a briefcase, and he's just screaming out to the world, why me? The universe, why me?
The 66-year-old is no stranger to controversy, famously stringing himself up on a crucifix for a day in the name of art. Patterson is perhaps best known for his work to help put Oamaru on the steampunk world map. He estimates that he's produced hundreds of privately commissioned works, along with 30 civic sculptures.
Well, I don't think I'll stop. Yeah. I mean, it's what I do, it's what I enjoy, and I love transforming spaces.
New Brighton is about to undergo some major changes, and Patterson already has whimsical ideas about how to help revitalise the seaside suburb. In Christchurch, the South Today.
A new Omicron subvariant has been found in New Zealand, with Dunedin epidemiologist Michael Baker wanting the country to return an alert level system. Baker believes a new system will help people understand the risk of infection. He says it could have simple measures which kick in when cases reach a certain level, such as mask mandates for public transport. He also says each Omicron subvariant is unique, with at least 10% of the new COVID-19 cases reinfections. A new Dunedin base for community corrections staff is now open. The Corrections Minister coming down to officially open and showcase the new facility.
Finally finished and ready to welcome in community corrections staff. Otago and Canterbury workers can now enjoy their new workspace along Dunedin's High Street. The workers crowding in the facility as Corrections Minister Kelvin Davis opened the site earlier this week, commending staff for their hard work.
And it's because of the work that you all do in your various roles in community corrections. So you are unsung heroes in my books, and you deserve to have the best facilities.
The building will host 90 corrections workers, with staff able to use the modern facilities to help manage people on various sentences and orders. In Dunedin, the South Today.
7,000 pages of real-world lecture notes boiled down to a 55-minute comedy stage show. That's the premise of I Didn't Invite You Here to Lecture Me, a solo performance which had audiences laughing in the aisles last night.
German language and society is not a course you take lightheartedly.
Laughter filling the Otago University Hall. Performer Mika Austin takes the audience on a crash course in bad teaching techniques, portraying 8 different professors. Writer Amy Mansfield says each line is true, transcribed word for word by her past self, sitting through 7 long years of lectures and filling 7,000 pages with notes, albeit with a little artistic license.
The lines themselves and the content have come from, from reality and were written down verbatim, but really we played with the characters until they were until they did what we needed them to do from a dramatic point of view.
There was little doubt the show would resonate with Dunedin audiences, given the prominent role the university plays in the city.
Yeah, there's nothing more kind of rewarding than seeing a whole audience, a whole lecture theatre full of people just laughing at something.
The director says it's no easy feat performing a 55-minute comedy monologue straight through with no breaks. Their one-night performance was just one of many acts on show for this year's Dunedin Arts Festival. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whakatane still to come on the South Today. Dunedin Arts Festival dancers tackle some challenging, thought-provoking topics, and locals snap up a piece of memorabilia from the old House of Pain in record time.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Stock liquidation on now. My mate John's massively overstocked and urgently needs to clear furniture and beds now. 5,000 items at half price.
And my mate John.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. A Dunedin dancer is using her craft to tackle some challenging topics. Atiti is being performed as part of the Dunedin Arts Festival, with the dance focusing on migrant communities.
Fractured forms with hidden feeling. Dunedin performance artist Sarupa Pramila Uni rehearses her solo dance called Atiti to resist. Uni is practicing a theatre piece which explores the dark topic of domestic violence.
So violence doesn't mean just physical violence which is really visible. It can also be emotional, it can also be financial, it can also be sexual, so it can be any sort of violence.
Uni has a long history in performing arts, having run her own school of dance for more than a decade. And she's using traditional dance styles for her upcoming piece, which have deep personal meaning.
I concentrate on Indian dance styles called Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam. And these are the dance styles that I have practiced right from my childhood.
The plight of women in immigrant communities is an important part of her work. She says women immigrating to New Zealand can become trapped in a difficult situation.
We do have help here, but there is no awareness around it. There's not much because we are not part of that family violence conversation within New Zealand or even Dunedin for that matter.
Atiti to Resist will be performed as part of the Dunedin Arts Festival at Te Whare o Rukutia on October 15. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Pieces of Dunedin sport history were snapped up quickly after being destined for the tip. The scheme to give away these faded seats, which used to line the Carisbrook Stadium, was a success. Placemakers Carisbrook owner Justin McCready was called up by a regular customer about the seats, which they'd found sitting in a warehouse. McCready says the seats are a part of sporting history and wanted some true rugby fans to have the memorabilia. Over the past couple of days, he's had the seats available for free at his store, with all 1,400 grabbed and taken to their new homes. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. 23-year-old Ben Bell is Gore's new mayor. Bell assuring he's the right pick for the job despite his age. Controversial sculptor David Peterson made the move from Rawamaru to Christchurch, already finishing a beer-inspired installation. And comedy show I Didn't Invite You Here to Lecture Me was a hit last night as part of the ongoing Dunedin Arts Festival. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the Deputy Editor, Craig Page. Kia ora, Craig.
Kia ora, Hannah.
What can we expect?
Yeah, more concerns in the health sector unveiled today, unfortunately. Ross Home in Dunedin announcing that it's going to be closing its 24-bed dementia ward in the upcoming months, basically due to a lack of staff. Currently got 16 residents and they require a high level of care as well, so there's going to be some concerns about where they're going to find them elsewhere in the city. So a lot of pressure going on families here, but Ross Home says for the past 6 months they've really struggled to find nurses and carers for these patients.
Yeah,
and,
it's been challenging.
Yeah, it has got really difficult. Others in the sector saying it's really just symptomatic of what's going on in the health sector generally. So hopefully we can find some other places around the city for these people pretty quickly. So. The election, of course, it's the story that just keeps on giving. Bit of a roundup. Of course, Sophie Barker confirmed today as Dunedin's Deputy Mayor. So we've had catch up with her. If you're quick, you'll catch her down in the Octagon having a beer, celebrating as we speak.
That's lovely.
And Michael Laws has survived a bit of a scare. Will remain as a councillor. The final votes came in today, and he has managed to hold his place. He's conceded that he needs to change and maybe focus on listening to the public a little more and communicating better with them in the next term. So we'll hold him to that.
Yes, good point.
Weekend mix as well, plenty of reading there. We catch up with science educator and photographer Sam Purdy, who's got a book coming out on skinks, geckos and frogs. So everything you want to know about them is in that book. And finally, sport as well. The Women's Rugby World Cup continues this weekend. Black Ferns up against Wales. Plenty of changes in the Black Ferns team for this weekend. So we wish them the best, and I'm sure they'll go well.
Well, thank you for all your coverage. We look forward to the weekend paper.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, warm northerlies develop tomorrow ahead of a cold front that's due on Sunday with some late showers. Heading to the top of the South Island. Fine with nor'easterlies up in Nelson tomorrow and a gorgeous weekend high of 20 degrees. 18 over in Greymouth, cloudy with light winds. And Christchurch is cooler than you'd expect, 14 with clouds and fresh nor'easterlies. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago now. Cloudy with nor'easterlies right the way through here. Ashburton and Timaru head for 16, with the Wāmaru just two behind on 14 tomorrow. Westwards now to the Central Lakes. And back to the lovely highs you'd expect through here as we anticipate northerlies and high cloud. Numbers wise, 21 for both Wanaka and Alexandra and 19 for Queenstown. Heading further south, cloud increasing across the day with northerlies on and off. Highs of 18 in Balclutha and Gore, with 14 over on the coast at the Catlins. Now down to the deep south. Well, fine and cold tonight in Invercargill, dropping to 4 degrees. Looking mostly fine and sunny tomorrow with high cloud and a stunning high of 19 degrees. Sunday brings cloud and showers as southwesterlies develop after a high of 14 degrees. And lastly, heading to Dunedin. Nor'easterlies and a low of 8 degrees overnight. Tomorrow's looking fine and sunny with light winds and a high of 14. Into Sunday, another lovely day with 18 as the high, with light northerlies before a southwesterly change in evening showers, wrapping up the last day of the school holidays. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.